So first of all, I think that everybody should buy real estate. I don't care what you do, like you should absolutely invest in real estate. What happens is you have your life insurance policy that's going to disperse the capital. Your family will literally inherit free and clear assets. So now,
Yes,
I can't believe he just said that.
Benny, you get it. All of this is the pillars of the system that you live in.
yes.
Go ahead.
Damn.
So real estate, again, I want to repeat this, and I'm sorry if I'm going to repeat this again.
Man, I think they
Do not
need you to repeat it,
apologize.
bro. They need you to repeat that.
Again, real estate mixed with life insurance is the key to generational wealth.
What's going on, millionaires? It's your guy Kai Speaks to you, back for another episode of the $1 Million Mind Podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Heavy House Jazz. How you feeling, Jazz?
You know I'm feeling great.
You
Every
feeling
day,
blessed?
every
Blessed by
day.
the best, never stressed about the rest.
You feel me?
Yeah. So it's about to be a good episode because we got my guy Beni Fwelo in the building, man. We've been trying to get Benny on the podcast for a whole year now. And Benny been playing these games. No. But Benny is a really busy guy, and y'all gonna know from the conversation because my guy has went from, now owning multiple doors. We talking about in the hundreds now, right? Like hundreds of doors
Almost
in real
400,
estate.
like next month. So
Almost 400 doors.
This is
next
amazing.
month. Yeah.
Damn, I feel like I blink and it's up another 100 doors every time, right? It's like 400 plus doors in real estate, owning a gym, one of the hottest gyms in Atlanta, rich and fit. Man, let's start off, Benny, with your story. Like, where has your mindset been? Like, how was your mental with going from where you were to like, being an owner of a gym, owning multiple doors, managing all this? What does that look like?
I mean, I'm blessed, like I'm really blessed. Like I always say, like every day is challenging, but it always works out, So I'm great, I'm feeling super blessed and highly favored,
Blessed and highly favored.
Yes.
I love it. Young, gifted, and black, man. So it's so crazy because Jazz, she loves to remind me of how it's all divine timing and divine order, and it's no coincidence that we was able to get you on. And this is, our first guest that we had since Jazz joined us as my co-host, right?
Feeling special right now.
and I met Jazz through real estate. And when I told her about you and I sent her your profile, like, this is the guy we interviewing, she was pumped. And it's like, y'all kind of coming from, the same place and like coming from a place where, real estate has really been a tool for you. Like real estate is, I'm sure, what even made Rich and Fit possible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, so like, what advice would you give those that are like looking at real estate from the outside, looking in and just still struggling to get their first door, their first 3 unit, their first 4 unit, or whatever that looks like? What advice would you give them, to push through whatever obstacles they facing right now?
So first of all, I think that everybody should buy real estate. I don't care what you do, like you should absolutely invest in real estate, So, but again, it's situational. I'm not too sure, what you're going through, like in terms of, income or what's your job and that kind of stuff. But I think that my best advice would be, if you don't have a lot of money, for example, to maybe find some alternatives way to get into real estate by maybe wholesaling or maybe investing in the REITs so you can get some sort of dividends from that, or maybe investing in projects from people like me, for example. A lot of my projects, I'd say, I get private money from friends and family and just acquaintances. These are people that don't have all the capital, but they may have $10,000, but they want to achieve some sort of real estate dream, and I make it possible for them by maybe taking that money and putting in a project for them and just kind of showing them what's possible. Like, hey, look, 10,000 turned into $12,000. That's 20% return, over whatever term.
And you ain't seeing 20% returns any
It's tough,
bank.
So, and then of course it's all according to whatever terms we agree on. But again, like I strongly encourage people to invest in real estate because it comes with so many advantages, which my favorite one is tax advantages, especially when you start holding properties. Like, I mean, I don't remember the last time I paid income taxes over the last 3 years, just because I'm holding a lot of properties. So yeah, man, like I think, again, my advice is buy real estate and thank me later.
Man, Jazz, I know you got a whole lot to say because once he mentioned of course, like just the crowd, because is that technically crowdfunding? What would you call that? Like
More so raising.
Yeah, I think it's more like direct. You know,
how
I
he
just
does it. Yeah.
I don't do crowdfunding. Just to be clear, ACC, don't come after me. I don't do.
That's not a good thing.
So it's a good thing, but I'm not regulated by the ACC.
Gotcha.
He's private.
I do private money. Like, I talk to you directly. No
Gotcha.
public offering.
So it's literally friends and family
I don't
know
do,
you and want to
I don't
invest
do
with
any
you.
public offering. I'm not soliciting anybody to
Gotcha.
invest with me. I don't do that. So, but maybe in the future when I have, maybe I'm trying to take down a very big project, then I need the public, to support. But right now, I'm fine. I think I got good enough connections to just raise the capital.
That's dope. That's dope. And I never knew that. I never knew that. That's what crowdfunding was, like that it was regulated by the SEC or any of that.
There's different partnerships. Yeah, definitely. He gets it. A lot of people aren't speaking that language, but he gets it. Benny gets it. Benny's an investor. I love to hear. I love to hear you speak. So that draws a question for me. Raising capital. How easy was it, or hard was it for you to raise your first amount of capital for whatever deal that may have been?
Yeah, so like the first deal that I ever raised capital for was a single family deal. It was a flip. And that was in 2020 during COVID. I've been in real estate at the time for 2 years already because I started in 2018. But fast forward during COVID, I mean, we kind of had to get creative, So we figured out we would probably tap into some private capital for single family deals. And we used social media. So at the time it was easy, Yeah. Because again, we kind of like had some sort of track record being in real estate. So it was easy because again, we're not raising a lot of money. We're raising maybe $50,000. So we had some friends put together $50,000 and we used that as a down payment and it was good. A year later, everybody got paid. That was great. But fast forward for the multifamily, for my first deal, I would say it was also easy for me because I had my own money plus also my track record. So I really encourage people to not raise money if you don't know what you're doing because you're going to lose people's money. But for me, the first deal was easy because, again, it was only $300 and maybe $50,000 that I had to raise.
Okay.
But it got harder when I started getting into the millions, I remember this year, for example, so far I've raised over the last 7 months of the year, I raised $4 million. Nice. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot of money in the grand scheme of things, but it was kind of challenging.
A lot of money.
It is a lot of money for people to see the vision with. So again, it's not easy, but it's not an excuse to to execute. I think the challenge is for me personally is that first of all we're not doing crowdfunding. That's what makes it hard. So $4 million.
Exactly.
Right, because you got a small circle that got to donate them.
Exactly.
Okay.
So $4 million. If I were to go the crowdfunding route or I have this syndication route where I'm giving equities, I mean that's easy. I can raise $4 million right now on the phone, because
you have more access. Yeah.
I have more access. I can raise $4 million in one day. But because my business model is I only offer cash on cash return to my investors, which means they're just private lenders. They come in the project. Their investment is only a portion of the down payment on the deal. And then upon refinancing, they're going to get back their money and they're out the deal. That's not appealing for everybody because most people, when they see me buying 100 units or 60 units, whatever, they want to be a part of it. Exactly. They want to stick to the project for 10 years, but I'm not interested in keeping partners for that long.
Right.
So that makes it hard for me to raise $4 million. But thankfully, I got people that, I'm a likable person and people want to be a part of whatever I got going on.
Yeah.
So
and they see the proof of concept at this point.
Proof of concept. So for them, maybe on the short term side, some people are interested to just get some cash on cash return. And I offer some aggressive terms to buy them out the deal, and it works, So yes, this is kind of to offer some context why it's hard. Is because we only offer cash on cash return, not like equity. Or you're not an owner with me or nothing. It's not a syndication.
Gotcha. And just so I'm understanding right, cash on cash is like you invest this, you'll get back that, and you'll get it back in a set amount of days,
set amount of time, whatever term we agree on, and that's all the deal is. You're just a lender. You're not on the LLC. You're not an operating agreement. You're just a lender. You're lending to my entity.
You're a limited partner.
But it's so interesting. I guess when you're talking in the millions, right? I guess where people who might be interested in investing hundreds of thousands of dollars or more, they might be thinking about that investment a little bit differently as opposed to somebody. Because I'm thinking like if I'm like investing $5,000 to $10,000. I would be cool with a cash on cash return because it's like it's no different than me throwing that into a savings account.
That's true.
And I'm getting 0.2% back on my on my investment or my deposit. So that's interesting. So I guess you're dealing with a different type of person now at that point.
Yes, so I rather deal with people that kind of, you know, I mean, for me, my minimum to work with me is $25,000. So I think you gotta have, because I heard you say 5,000. I mean, honestly, if you give me $5,000, I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. In terms of, like,
That's crazy. You just shot my $5,000 investment.
not because I don't know. I'm gonna probably
It's more of a
turn it-
headache.
Yeah.
I'd rather not take your $5,000.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'd rather not take your money, but when you have 25,000, I can see, you know, it's useful. You know, it can be useful somewhere in a project, whether even pre-acquisition, even post-acquisitions. You know, I even offer some investing vehicles in my projects where, you know, after we acquire the property, other investors can come in when we already own the property, where they can just invest in the construction, for example. You know, so maybe they can inject some capital to accelerate the construction, so that way they can get paid maybe short term when I get reimbursed by the bank. Because, you know, just like in single family, you know, you work with banks that give you draws, construction draws. So let's say I have a budget of $1 million to renovate this apartment complex, but I end up spending maybe half of it. But that means I still have $500,000 available that I can very much tap into. I can pull that money and I can use that to pay some investors early. The bank is not supposed to hear that, but that's, I mean, all my investors, they know what I'm talking about. She knows what I'm talking about.
We're doing it right now. So yes, totally understood.
So my investors know what I'm talking about. I'm just keeping it 1,000 here, you know. So
it's strategic finance.
it's strategic, you know. So I offered that opportunity to some investors that want to come post acquisition, where let's say I acquire property and I need to get the construction work, you know, started, and I need $100,000. I can just partner with you and say, hey, look, give me $100,000. I'm gonna do some work here, and then I'm gonna pull back $200 from the bank, and I give you whatever return on your $100,000. Let's say 10% over the next 6 months or whatever. You know,
Man, I'll be honest. Like, this is how I know you've been doing this for a minute, Benny, because you like jazz. Y'all talking Chinese at this point to me. Is like, I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. And so, like, what does that look like for somebody to start? Because obviously, you know, no one's starting out, you know, with the circle to even raise $4 million, like to buy a 100 unit or whatever that might look like in units. What does that look like to start out? Like, what are some feasible ways somebody can get into a practice like this to get into real estate, maybe without using all their funds or their life savings, you know, to get the dream done on a smaller scale, if that's possible?
I think Jazz would agree. It starts with education. You know, I strongly recommend people, you know, you gotta know what you're doing, man. Like, at least in theory, like maybe not in practicality, but like at least read about it, connect with people. I mean, get a mentor if you can. Like, real estate is very risky. People lose a lot of money every day. You know, I've lost money too. So, just
Me too.
yes, you know, she would say that. So it's like you gotta educate yourself, get a mentor, and then that's when you can start. But again, I always say, like, it's very situational. Like people always ask me all the time, like, hey, how much money do I need to get into real estate? Like,
It depends.
It depends. It always depends. You know what I'm saying?
On the
Where are you
deal.
located? Like, where's the deal located? Like, I mean, it's so many variables.
asset.
Right.
You know?
It's hard to give one straight answer.
Like, it's hard. Like, people always ask me, how do I get into real estate? Like, I got into real estate through wholesaling.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean everybody should get into real estate wholesaling. So now I can advise people to wholesale because it worked for me. You know, for me, in 2018, I got laid off from a job. Actually, late 2017, I just got laid off from a job. So, I mean, I was very pissed off. I was really upset at the idea of working for somebody else because I thought I did a great job working for Comcast. I was one of the top salesmen in the South. So, I mean, I had, you know, aspirations to climb the corporate ladder and become an executive one day, you know, and then I just get laid off out of
That
nowhere.
would piss me off
Look
too.
at God.
And exactly. So I was like, man, like, I'm never working with somebody else, you know? So, but then, you know, almost by accident, real estate kind of fell in my lap because I was home and watching TV, and then there was this infomercial talking about you can get into real estate with no money down. It sounded too good to be true. But again, what did I have to lose, you know? I lost my job already. So to me, I just gave it a shot, and I went to this seminar 3 days, and I learned what I had to learn. And again, education first. I had to learn some basics, and I started wholesaling. And 3 months later, I closed my first deal, made $50,000. And 2 weeks later, made $16,000. Got a little lazy, but then later in that year, 2018, I got my real estate license, and then kind of just
Went from there.
again, I didn't need my license, but at the time, I kind of figured let me get a license so I can do my own comps, and eventually when I start flipping houses, I can list my own houses. So I had a game plan.
Yeah.
Got my license, and then I started taking myself a little more seriously. I gotta be honest, and then it went from there. So wholesaling, but then the problem with wholesaling is like you only as good as your last deal. So it kind of was very frustrated. I mean, it's great. I made a lot of money wholesaling. Like I made in 1 year. I remember 2021. I made north of $2 million just wholesaling. So it was great. But I just wanted to get into a predictable, business model in real estate. Which I think rental properties is the most predictable, real estate vertical you can get into.
Yeah.
Although, you can flip houses, you can wholesale, you can make it as predictable as possible. But I mean,
it's still a lot of work.
It's still work that you gotta do. It's actively working. And I got into holding properties just because, I mean, at least I know every month, first to the third, I know people paying rent. As long as they're paying, I know the money's in the account. Yes.
And you said something, and I want to point out a trend because something told me, Benny, that you came from a sales background.
Yes.
And so, like, when you mentioned the work that you did at Comcast prior to, like, you was killing it in the sales.
Yes.
Talk about your experience. It may not be the experience there, but just the experience of knowing sales and how crucial that was, or how that might have played a part in, getting into the wholesaling to, where you are now with negotiating deals.
Actually, this is a very good question because when I was working as a sales rep, I was very frustrated with the job. Everybody was working a job. You don't really like your job. You're just trying to get by, pay your bills. But looking back, I think working as sales rep for a year was like better than an MBA degree. Like I'm not even like I would literally advise anybody to get into sales just because honestly, man, like, and I was doing direct sales, which was door-to-door sales.
Ooh, that's tough.
Not easy.
I was doing, so that means you telling me I'm going to these people's houses, right? I'm going to this guy's, like, just think about it like this. I go to a person's house, they're not expecting me, okay? I knock on the door, and they open it, and I have to convince this guy to listen to me. Like, don't even worry about the product that I'm selling.
Right,
Because,
just don't slam the door in my face.
Yes, I was representing a big company. It's Comcast. I had an Infinity hat. People kind of were familiar with it, but the idea of having to, that person, I don't know what they're doing in the house. They have to stop what they're doing to spend the next 15 minutes with me at the door. Man, like, that skill, I believe, was the catalyst to my success. Like, just the ability to convince somebody to stop what you're doing, and you're going to have to listen to me here at this door, and I have no appointment with you. You know what I'm saying? No appointment.
I see it.
Think about it. Like, that's how I explain sales, direct sales. Like, it's not about you have an appointment and then follow up. I mean, sometimes I had to follow up with people, but like the ability to persuade people to listen to me in spite of whatever they were doing, whatever they're going through in the day, that's the skill that I'm telling you changed my life, And I was able to take it into real estate and take it into capital raising and take it into everything I do. Every interaction that I have with people is like a sales pitch now at this point. Like, I gotta sell myself. I gotta be able to convey something that,
It give you some guts
You'd
too.
be building yourself in this skill
And
that
then,
would take you this
Absolutely.
long way of elevation
yes.
on somebody else's dime.
Absolutely.
You literally were like, and we talked about that. It was like learning a skill on somebody else's corporation is priceless.
Absolutely.
And it's one of the best schemes of the world. To me, it's one of the best things that you can actually do for yourself and invest in yourself.
Absolutely.
Comcast taught you how to do all of this.
Yes, and a lot of people that don't like to I mean, I get it. Not everybody likes their job, but use your job the best you can, man. Whether for money, whether for skills.
Anything.
If you have aspiration, to be an entrepreneur, and you have a job right now, I would say, man, use your job, man. I personally never advise people to just quit their job.
I agree.
I always tell people, look, if you want to get into real estate or whatever you want to get into, use your job. Like, I know it may suck that you're trading your valuable time for maybe not as a lot of money, but it's
or even being intentional when you're looking for a job.
Exactly.
The worst thing you can do when you already feeling some way like I don't want to get a job, the worst thing you can do is just get any job, which I think so many people do. Is like they're like, woe is me, I don't want to get a job. I hate working for other people, but then they just go into just getting any job because they need the money.
Yeah. I mean,
There's
bills I do.
Bills are due, right? But it's like at least be intentional about it. Find
That is
something
true.
that you can at least reap the benefits some way, somehow, whether it's going to be something that you're passionate about or
Yes.
something that offers a skill that you can then leverage to get into real estate or
find
to
something
do,
to partner with
you know what I'm
your
saying?
dreams.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny because I didn't know, man. Like I didn't know when I was getting my job that it was.
That's how it is.
I just need really. What you say is real because I was just getting a job because I wanted to pay my bills.
You're right.
You know, but I will definitely recommend anybody to get into sales. I don't know, in some capacity, get into sales.
I would say the same thing for me because when I got into sales, it was because I just moved to Atlanta. My job didn't have like room for me to transfer when I moved to this new city. So I'm like, okay, let me get into sales. And it wasn't because I thought of this master plan, like I can use it for XYZ. It was more so I did understand that it would have transferable skills that I might be able to use somewhere in the future, but then it was also the uncapped commissions. Like that was the main thing. It was like
actually as a job, working in sales, I made the most money, like job wise, you know, because I mean, I think my last job was my highest paying job just because it was a sales job. And then when you're good at it, you can make as much money. Like,
but it is tough when you're not doing good at it though.
Because I think my base salary at the time was $2,000.
Ooh, better than mine.
Yeah.
You know what my base was?
What was your base?
My base was $400 a week.
What? I mean, my
If
base
I
salary
didn't
was
make a
enough
sale.
for me to pay my rent
Yeah.
and my car.
That's tough.
But after that, man, I was making maybe $8,000 a month, or $10,000. So that mean I was really earning a lot of commissions. I was really good at selling, you know, whatever. Like,
We could see from where you are now, right? Jazz, you got experience in sales?
So this is exactly where I was going. So no,
Okay.
I'm not a salesperson. I can almost not even give you the invoice. I'm a people person. I came in healthcare, and also when I came into real estate, I bought doors immediately. So that was how I got into real estate. And then hearing you, Beni, how you got into real estate and wholesaling, just thinking of all the vast ways to get into real estate. That's what I love about real estate. If you could do it over again, would you recommend, even though I hear you say, hey, it's whatever works for you, what way would you have done it differently than
that's a good question.
wholesaling?
there are a few things that I would absolutely have done differently. For me personally, I would have gotten out of my shell first, you know, because I was kind of like trying to figure it out by myself. And I think I wasted a lot of time trying to figure things out. You know, I would have either gotten a mentor if I could afford one, or a coach, or even just get tapped into a community, you know, to kind of just be around like-minded individuals. But in terms of strategies that I could have used, I think I was gonna just wholesale. I just think wholesaling, you know, I think wholesaling is, I think in my opinion, is one of the best ways you can get into real estate if you have the time. I think for you, maybe were you working somewhere, like you had a job or something?
Yeah, I was going to radiology school.
Yeah, so I think if you don't have time, it makes sense to just buy rental properties.
I did it on my W-2.
Exactly.
I bought it FHA, and I bought the highest number of units that I could.
Yeah, so I think if you have a job, it makes sense to buy rental properties, because wholesaling is a very active business, you know. But for me, remember, I had no jobs, you know. So for me, it was just like, I got all this time.
Opportunity.
Let me maximize, you know, the opportunity. So I think that, again, if you don't have a job, or you're free, wholesaling will be a good strategy. So that way you can kind of, you know, for that cash flow, get money, and then maybe use the capital to invest into rental properties. But again, if you have a job, then it makes sense. So again, like I always say, it's very situational. There's not one way to get started. Yeah. If you're a doctor calling me right now, hey, I want to get into real estate, I'm probably going to advise you to buy rental properties. Right. It's going to be your way. But if you just graduated college and you don't have a job yet, you're in the market, I mean, you got time, wholesale, because you can make $50,000 and you may never get a job. You know, that $50,000 may be your yearly salary potentially at your job, you know, so... Again, yeah, I think I would have definitely wholesaled again if I were to start over.
Okay.
Just maybe get people around me sooner. I think that would be the difference versus what I did. I think I was
get into that mentorship.
Mentorship.
And that's what I like about wholesaling too, is like, because you talk as a wholesaler, you talking to one, you learning the market through the sellers, and you learning the market through the buyers, and most importantly, if you're a good wholesaler, you get to learn from the buyer. So like, you're not just selling them a deal and just letting them go. Like if you good, you look at see what they did with the deal, maybe call them back and follow up. I'm like, I saw you did X, Y, Z. Why'd you do it that way? And you get that feedback to where now you get to learn about how people are moving their properties before actually spending a dime on your first property.
Exactly.
That's, I think, the one
Very
thing I
good
like about
perspective,
wholesale.
Yeah.
But now that you're buying your time back, so that's the one
Yeah,
thing
it's the
that
time.
I've never been into wholesaling because I'm definitely a time girl. And so thank God for people like you that can sell their butt off. But you've now bought your time back and you have more units than you can count. And
Well, I can still count. I think what I'm doing right now is, I mean, think about it. It's again, when you think about commercial real estate, what I have right now, yes, I'm blessed, and you know, I'm on my way. I'm coming, but it's a speck of dust.
I
man.
know.
Yeah.
I know.
Like, it's
right?
just
We're
nothing,
not
you know
even
what
at
I'm saying?
3,000 years. We
Yes,
get it.
we like it's nothing, but I'm blessed. You know,
Yeah.
just to say the list. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. And I like that you're a realistic person on here,
Yeah.
and you're letting people understand even the difference.
Yes.
Right, from residential to commercial, and then what's the goal there.
Yes.
Right. But since you've now crossed over to that whole passive side of things, out of that active lane of just wholesaling, what would you say is, there's this glam, like, wow, you have this passive income and people are paying you rent. But what about the cons of buying a multi-unit? What does that look like? You know, even from getting into that deal in the beginning to, you know, just the holding of that unit, whether it's 3 to 5 years or, you know,
Yeah.
scaling up.
So first of all, I'm gonna be real with everybody right now. Honestly, I was gonna say there's no such thing as passive income in real estate, but there is. You know, if you invest in REITs and you just, you know, I mean, if you really don't want to be involved, let's say, like I was saying earlier, you invest in a project and you just wait for your return. Yes, but if you're an active investor like me, you know, although I have rental properties, but I don't think it's passive. You know, fully passive. You know.
How come I understand you? But just go ahead.
Yeah, you understand me?
Yes,
I don't
I
think
do.
it's passive. Now, am I like a landlord that's there every day? Not at all. I got a staff, I got teams handling everything, but I'm working, you know? Like I look at my properties, I know what's going on. Like, so I don't think it's really passive. You
You're
know?
in the books.
I'm in the books.
Not
I'm
paying.
Yes,
Damaging
I know what's going on. I drive my properties. I go for meetings. I'm busy dealing with my real estate stuff, you know? So again, I don't know. Like, so again, like a lot of people, they think because you're going to buy rental properties and you're going to have X amount of doors and all of a sudden it's going to be passive. That's not true. Like, I'm just telling y'all, if you're looking for passive income in real estate, the best way would be just give it to an investor and wait for your money back.
Agreed.
But if you're going to
Really?
do, yes.
Yes.
I'm
Wow.
telling you, invest in a REITs, give it to some other investors, invest in a fund. That's how it's passive. But if you're going to buy rental properties and give it to a management company and think that that's enough, it's not passive.
Still have to manage
it. And then when you're saying
you're
that-
still going to deal with it somehow.
Okay, when you're saying that, you're saying like there's still work that you have to put in. There's still some active work that you got to do.
Yeah,
Got you.
I don't care what it is, but, you know, it can be checking emails and
Budgeting.
It can be things like that because I mean,
Got
if you're
you.
not doing that, you're relying heavily on a management company. I mean, you're not going to know what's going on.
It's very
You know,
true.
it's very true. Like,
Got you.
I mean, if you want to be a good investor, you need to know what's going on with your properties.
Right,
you know?
right.
So I think, I don't know if I was really answering your question, but I wanted to address the whole passive income thing because a lot of people think that because you have 10 doors, passive income.
He's not doing a damn thing.
Nah,
He's,
that's not true.
He's
You-
set.
That's not true.
Wow.
You're still actively in the business. But what was your question again? I
So,
want to make sure.
And that's good that you spoke to that, right? It's not, real estate is not for everybody in every aspect.
Yes.
But what I was basically asking you was, you know, what are some of the cons of buying multi-unit real estate? Everybody looks at, right? Like you
Yes.
said, the passive income. But what are some of the cons?
Let me think. There are not a lot of them. but-
From and even from the aspect of even just purchasing a multi-unit all the way to even the aspect of holding that unit
that.
over time. What are some of the cons?
I think for me, when it comes to multifamily, I think one of my number one cons would be the exit. You know, I don't think exiting it is as easy as a house. You know,
Agreed.
so the advantage of buying single family is that, I mean, if you buy a house, you can sell it to almost anybody. You know, you can sell a house to, I mean, kid out of college with a job offer can buy a house.
Yeah.
You know, they don't even have income yet. Like somebody with a job offer can buy a house.
Yeah.
You know, but when you get into commercial real estate, you're selling it to other investors.
Yeah.
So your pool of buyers is definitely smaller than the residential. Single family. I think that's the number one con, in my opinion, that that kind of makes it hard for people in multifamily. But I mean, multifamily just has too many advantages, So I'm really I'm thinking about what other
I didn't even think about that, but I definitely can see it.
Yeah, the exit is not as simple as,
and it makes sense, and that's more of the reason why it's like before you get into it, you gotta be sure, like almost sure of it, because
you're not gonna you don't press a button and sell it. Like even when we were wholesaling, you can sell a house in a week.
Yeah.
Houses fly pretty fast.
Even if you accidentally get a bad deal from the sellers, you can still find somebody that's going.
You can find somebody. Multifamily commercial real estate, or even any kind of commercial real estate. I mean, these properties can sit on the market for a long time because you're selling it to other experienced savvy investors, and they know what they're talking about. I mean, it's tough. I mean, you can just sell anything,
How long is the whole underwriting process usually from beginning to close to even sell that unit?
So
that commercial property.
I mean, typically, people take as long as they can. I mean, I've heard of 6 months and sometimes a year, depending on the assets. But we more aggressive. We close 30, 60 days max.
Nice.
So we kind of got into this commercial game with the single family mindset in terms of closing fast.
Yeah.
Just because we want to, beat the competition in a sense, because I think in multifamily, when you're offering quick closing, is very appealing because people are used to, 6 months close and 3 months, a year close. I mean, people are underwriting deals for a full year, but we move faster. I mean, when we have a deal, we underwrite it pretty fast. We get the appraisal, we get the lender on board, and we work with some lenders that are pretty fast as well. So, I mean, we can close 30 days, 60 days max,
Yeah. And now, even though I mentioned the pros of wholesaling, because you can kind of get feedback from buyers and stuff like that before you buy your first piece of real estate. But is that the route that you went, or do you have a mentor as well? Did you go through, the mentor route?
Commercial real estate?
Yeah.
Yes, I actually paid a mentor at the time $25,000. So the thing is, I always wanted to buy multifamily apartments, but I just didn't know how. I mean, I watched as many YouTube videos as you can think. I read books. I mean, all that, right? It was good, but it's what I found out is these lenders are not going to just give you money. And then when you're talking about multifamily, you're talking about millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not just going to lend you money when you have no track records and that kind of stuff. So I got stuck somewhere, and I figured that I'm going to invest in a mentor. At the time, it was $25,000. His name is Ed Bolden. So I paid him $25,000, and literally 2 months later, I bought my first apartment because it just accelerated everything for me. He personally introduced me to lenders that already trusted him because of his track record of 8 years. And I'm not talking about applying online and waiting for a response. I'm talking about phone call. Hey, here's Mr. Beni Fwelo.
Personally introduce me.
And
wow, that's some value.
Making sure vouch for me, and he's doing it for all these other mentees, and that made it easy for us to get approved on these loans and close pretty fast and that kind of stuff. So you never know what your mentor can do. I'm a big supporter of the idea of pay to play if you have to. And because that's what it takes, sometimes that's what especially today, we're in the information age, just so much information going.
Yeah.
At this point, it's overwhelming, and people don't really know which route to go.
You can get analysis paralysis, truly.
Exactly. You can get paralyzed. So I think there are people out there that are actually doing things that can just shorten your time.
Amen.
So just get with one of them. I don't know, just pay the price if there is one, and just save your time. I paid $25,000 to a mentor, and now I have $44 million worth of real estate.
And you said you got your first deal in 2 months
after paying my mentor, and then next month, as I'm talking to you guys, I'm gonna be at $65 million worth of real estate, and all that happening less than 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I have a role to play in it. My own belief and my own grind, but still, the mentors really accelerated everything for me. I would not say in good faith that I was gonna be here if I didn't pay somebody to help me. I was gonna be somewhere, but maybe not here. I don't know.
And one thing I love that you mentioned was, right, of course you had a role to play in it, but that the biggest role you had to play in it was the determination and the faith to invest the $25,000 in the first place. Because most people don't even believe in themselves even if they got $30,000 in the bank.
They hold on to that $25,000 and they don't get it. You are your biggest investment,
right?
Yes. And Beni did it, and I commend you for that.
Yes,
Man,
and then people always think, and people always think, oh man, you had it $25,000. I mean, look, $25,000 is still a lot of money.
It's still a lot of money.
It's still a lot of money, and even if I had the money, okay, it's still a risk you're taking on somebody. To be honest with you, this is somebody I didn't even know. Like at the time, we were not friends. I didn't know. Like it was somebody online that was in town, and I kind of was like, well, if he's doing it in my city, maybe something that I don't know.
It's a parade inside my city,
yeah. And I was like, he's doing it right here in my backyard. I mean, look, the whole thing was like, there's something he knows that I don't know. For me, that's all it was. Like I was not so much caught up on the idea that, oh my gosh, I'm gonna buy buildings. Like it was really like, yo, whatever he knows, I need to know it too. That's all it was for me. And he cost $25,000. Yes, I paid so I can just get that information.
Yeah, and
that information has changed my situation. So it's like, at the time I was only wholesaling and flipping houses. I was making good money. I was already a millionaire. Like, I was making money. My business was worth $4 million at the time. I mean, we're making good money.
But have you invested money into a mentor before where it didn't work out?
Not really for me, honestly. Like, because first of all, like I haven't really like been. I don't think I've paid a lot of mentors in my journey, but I've paid a total of 3 mentors.
Okay.
And for the last 6 years, and it's always worked out. You pick the right people that are actually doing what they say they're doing. Like right now, like on the internet, I mean, anybody can claim anything. I think the number one way you can verify whether somebody's real or not, like I find a way to see if they
actually doing
like
it.
For example, like for me right now, like I'm not necessarily like, in terms of coaching other people, we're going through an interview process, and the interview is not so much for us to interview them, but it's also for them to interview us. We're giving people the opportunity to ask us the questions that they need to make sure that we can really help them, Yeah. Because one thing I really pride myself on is that I'm really doing this business. So if I'm teaching you some stuff, like it's not because I'm just trying to make money online. Like I really own properties. Like I'm in the business. I'm underwriting deals right now. I'm buying deals. I'm buying a 136 unit next month. Like I'm really doing this. So if I offer to help you, it's because I'm just trying to pay you back, because that's what people did for me. I paid a mentor as well. That's why I'm buying these buildings. And I just think that success leaves clues. So I want to, pay forward to the next, to wherever want the help. And again, I really do this. So, where else you want to learn from other than people that really are doing this so they can give you the actual steps that they're using in their business,
And that's so crazy because it is hard right now. You mentioned this information overload online, and then so many people nowadays with good quality ads, good quality videos can seem like they really doing it. And so you can fall into that facade of getting in the wrong mentor. I myself have invested in some mentors that didn't really put me in. Yeah, that didn't work out. So that's why I asked that question. That happens
to a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it's like, and of course, like I seen Ed content. It's like, one thing is for sure, he got his name on all them damn apartment buildings. So it's like, okay, you scroll long enough, you can see he obviously doing it, right? And then of course you go to Beni's page, you see, pretty much now the same thing. So I guess having that proof of concept. But if you are someone who has never invested in a mentor before, what are some questions that they can ask so that they are, asking the right questions to expose this person as a good mentor or not?
So now I can't speak of any industry.
Yeah.
Or all industries.
Real estate.
But real estate is simple, man. Give me some addresses. Let me check the tax records. Like, I mean, look, if you want to get a mentor in real estate and they're telling you that they own properties,
let me see them properties.
Let me see the property. I mean, that's straight. Because if you own properties, it's public record.
That's right.
Yeah,
do you understand that you can look it up online and really see if their LLC or whatever own these properties?
Okay.
See
like
the chain that's out of
you can see, like it's very simple. Like, where are your properties? I mean, if you call yourself a real estate investor or a multi-millionaire real estate investor, I want to see some properties. I want to see some
blank.
properties. Show me the deeds. You know what I'm saying?
Show me the capital you raised. Show me
the
the
deeds.
paybacks.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
can see.
You can see all the stuff. It's public
it's
record.
all record.
You raised money. What did you buy? Show me. Let me see the properties. Oh, you pay people back? Okay, let me see the people you pay. Like these are real questions you can ask people, and if they're not able to provide those, I mean, come on, like it's too obvious. They're lying. They're just selling. They're making money online, which is nothing wrong with it. I get it. Like I make money online too, but it's like people.
Well, there's nothing wrong with making money online, but it is something wrong about claiming something you ain't.
Exactly. It's
To
nothing
make
wrong.
money
And not
online.
being
It's
real.
nothing wrong to
Yeah.
making money online, but exactly like you say, like you gotta just
You want real
keep it
results.
real. Like you may just be an expert in something you used to do, and you're just good at teaching it, and it's cool. Like teaching people, and I'm sure it helps some people. They just get the knowledge from you, but you cannot claim, you cannot have on your bio that you're a real estate investor, a multi-millionaire real estate investor, but you have no properties. All you
Agreed.
do is teach people wholesale.
So
Or
all right,
you
so,
do is teach people some
so
stuff.
let
Like,
me
come on,
ask you
man.
this: how y'all feel up? Because this is exactly what the university's been doing for years.
Yeah.
Because you got Professor X,
Yeah.
teaching real estate investing, but don't have no doors. It's like, okay, what are your thoughts on then? Like, is that okay now because they coming from a university standpoint?
But I think that's the problem because these guys online, they kind of like, excuse my French, but like they be shitting on the school system.
Or but they doing the
But
same
they're doing
thing.
the same thing.
Yeah. Okay,
You know what I'm saying? Everybody online is like, college just failed me and this, not the third, because
College
these,
didn't fail me.
But the thing is like, dude, you're doing the same thing. You don't own doors. You're not really about the stuff that you're talking about, just like your teachers in college. You guys are the same. So, I mean, personally, I don't have a problem with college, man. Like, I think that, yes, go to college if that's what you want to do, like there's nothing wrong. I'm not like one of those job shamer or college shamer. I guess that's the word. I think that college is good. Like, if that's what you want to do, if you want to be a lawyer, an engineer, or just you want to socialize and, connections, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that was about to say that's where it was beneficial to me.
Yes,
Was
I mean,
really
there's
the
nothing
connections
wrong with
and the
college.
network.
I don't think there's anything wrong with college. If you have the capital to invest in that, it's nothing wrong because I just think it's the same thing. Like people online, I mean, they're selling education. I mean, you can get some in college, some from a mentor. I think a mixture of both is good because at the end of the day, you need college for connections too. You can go to school, you go to the good school, like, I mean, you can meet some people that can help you in life.
Yeah.
So that's what it's been for me, So, and I'm sure it's been the same for you. So I think there's nothing wrong with college, at all.
Let's come to a current event. I
What
have
is
a
it?
question for you. So right now, the mortgage industry is talking about new construction multi-units coming up, right?
Yes.
And that there's more new construction multi-units than there are renters, and rent is dropping across the U.S. everywhere. Does that tell you to stop buying multi-units, or what does that tell you?
So it depends, right? The kind of multifamily properties that we buy, they're more like affordable. I operate in the affordable housing space, and in the affordable housing space, you have a lot of renters because these are people that work regular jobs. They may not just afford to just buy a house, and their only alternative is to rent, So we operate in those rates between like 900 to 1600, and this is kind of a sweet spot to be safe. A lot of Class A assets, that's kind of what falls into those new developments, and those are good to preserve capital, but you may not make a lot of money there. So I get it. Like I think that to kind of answer your question, I mean it's concerning when you're telling me because by the way I didn't see those the stats, so I'm learning from you. But assuming that that's true, it will be concerning depending on what kind of asset you're buying, And I kind of seen it over the last 2 years that a lot of like Class A, those high rises in Bucket, for example, like they don't perform as well as in terms of like, the upside, like the return on your investment. Yep. They don't perform as well as the kind of asset. We buy like underperforming assets that we add value to, and we can 2x the property value in a matter of a year or 2 years, but you don't really get that as fast when you're buying, some stabilized Class A assets. But it's good to preserve capital. So
appreciate for sure.
Now, when you say Class A and any of the other classes, what do you mean by that for someone whose first time is hearing that?
So
like me,
we buy a lot of like, so I buy a lot of Class C and B.
Got you.
And it's all based on location and like to put it in simple terms, like, there's a difference between buying in Bucket, like nice neighborhood in Atlanta, or in Decatur or somewhere, like in sort of like transitioning neighborhoods, you know. So I buy a lot in transitioning neighborhoods that I know over the next 10 years is going to make sense, and those assets are generally in needs of some sort of construction, or just those properties just need some love, So from because like I was saying, they're underperforming in terms of like the rental income is not there, and their net operating income is not really where it's supposed to be. So we go in and we turn those units, we make them nice, and we take them from Class C to Class B, and and we kind of like hold it like that and wait. So again, Class A is the nice stuff, in the nice neighborhood. That's how you can think about it. Class C, you can think about the hood, or the neighborhoods that are coming up. Yeah, so we like to buy those because you can get something for like $5 million, in English Avenue, and then in 2 years it's worth double that. It's hard to do in Buckhead, you know what I'm saying? Because in Buckhead it's already gonna be stable, already, But so I think it makes sense, because for me right now, my strategy is to buy a lot of this Class C and Class B for the upside, like just so I can make a lot of money, And eventually I'm gonna start preserving my capital in nicer, for lack of a better word, like in just better assets, Class A,
Now I heard that there's a Class D that people don't really talk about.
Yeah, I don't touch Class D. That's like that's the slum. You don't want to touch Class D.
Got you.
Yeah,
okay.
That's like, if you want to be a slumlord, then you go to Class D, but that's tough. Like, that's too rough. Class C is good. Really, Class B is actually where you want to be, but you can take Class C because of the price. You can buy it at good prices.
Because Class C could sooner or later turn into a Class B anyway, right?
So easily.
That's what
the
you
city
do.
plans is in, right?
That's the game.
That's the name of the game. You get Class C, and you turn it into Class B. And if you're in a nice neighborhood, like my boy bought a property in Buckhead, actually, that was like an older building in Buckhead. You can turn that in. It's a Class B based on the condition of the building, but it's in a Class A location.
Yeah.
So that means you can turn a Class B into a Class A.
Yeah.
So it's all a mixture of the condition of the building and the location. So I have a Class C property right now in a Class A neighborhood.
Nice.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? So right now I'm actually transitioning to Class B.
I was about to say, just me.
Hear me.
That's crazy.
Hear me. I'm transitioning into Class B. So now, when I bought it, I didn't know it was going to be a Class A neighborhood, but it's by the Porsche dealership at the airport. It's a lot of new development coming around.
Right.
So eventually, over the next few years, I'm going to have a Class A property, because even if I may not keep the structure of the building right now, but I can tear it down and build other things. So that means there's a potential for Class A in that location, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
Again, I would always tell people, don't buy real estate in hopes that the price and the value will go up. Buy real estate because you know how to make the value go up. So again, when I'm telling you I buy Class A, I buy Class C, I'm going to turn it into Class B. These are not speculations. We actually know how to do this, and that's how you buy real estate. You gotta know what you're doing. Because a lot of people I keep hearing it's like, oh, I'm just buying, real estate, and then it's gonna go up. I always ask how.
How? Do you know how? What's the
exactly?
They
I
don't
always ask people
understand
how. Like how exactly. What's
That's
going to happen for the property, both for the price of your property or the value of your property to go up? So again, buy real estate not in hopes of not hoping that the value is gonna go up. Buy because you know how to make the value go up. So it's two different things. You know what I'm saying? So that's just that's the name of the game.
Go ahead?
Sorry, I was gonna say, even if you don't know how to make it go up, at the very least, buy somewhere you or your kids are safe to live. Location is one of the biggest things of real estate.
That's the number one thing in real estate.
Just adding on.
Yeah,
sure.
That's big. I think that's huge, because like you said, a lot of people just buying real estate just because they thinking of the doors, and the more doors, they tying it to this passive income. Like, oh, I'm just trying to get more doors so I can get more passive income.
Yeah.
When you got to think about all these other factors that play a part of that. That's huge.
I mean, real estate makes sense for the most part in the long term, I mean, there's a rule of thumb that I've kind of, heard some people say that, like, if you hold a property for 10 years, it's going to make sense, But I just don't like to, I mean, it depends on the location, of course. It's all location based, because things can always go the other way.
Agreed.
So again, assuming that you're in a good location, let me make myself clear. Real estate in the long term could likely make sense.
Yeah.
So it could be a safe investment for you. So it may not make sense year 1, year 2, year 5, 6, 7, but maybe year 10 is all going to make sense, right? But again, I just don't like buying and speculating, I like to have a strategy, an exact strategy on how I'm gonna make my value go up, and that's the best way to buy it. Buy it at the right price, inject the right capital expenditures, and you can get another appraisal to see the value at the time, and you can at the time exit it or refinance or whatever you want to do, or just hold the assets, whatever, when you unlock your equity, you really made money out of thin air, so you can do what you want to do.
Do you see yourself sticking with the residential, or do you see yourselves or have hopes of transitioning to like more commercial properties? Like,
so I'm already doing commercial multifamily right now.
Yeah.
So commercial, so commercial is the
I think you're
difference.
saying mixed use.
Yeah.
Or
Because
mixed use
because
is
I know
great.
that residential is 4 and under, and then you get into like the multifamily
Yes.
commercials. I know
But
that
I think
term,
you're talking
but
to commercial
as
in terms
far
of
as
like plazas and
warehouses,
warehouse, okay.
Industry.
malls, or whatever it may look like. I don't know, but
Maybe, yeah. I don't have an exact plan, or I don't know, because I didn't even plan on getting into real estate, so so I don't know. I think
Man.
it's very possible. I'm already in the industry. I think it's a vertical. It's a vertical I may explore sometime, but I think it's all about just whatever opportunity is presented and how much money I have at the time, if it makes sense. Right now though, like I think my strategy again is to buy a lot of class C, B, and in transitioning neighborhood, and see what capital I can extract from those projects, and then maybe start preserving some of them in some class C assets, which could include some mixed use. Mixed use. I think that's how you say it.
the mixed use is where it's at right now, especially in this area where we
Yes.
at. Is like it's huge.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the trajectory I'm likely going, where it's like I just get this capital and get into some, mixed use properties. But, I look into some developing. I'm very interested in that too, looking into some developing, whether it's like developing a whole subdivision of houses or just developing a building. Like, these are things that I'm going to do in the future. But right now I'm just sticking to what's working for me. It's taking care of my life, and I'm just going to scale, slowly, I think real estate is it's a long-term game, man. You get rich in 20 years, man. In real estate, you can pay your bills now, but like you really get rich, in 20 years. So I'm waiting when I'm 55. I'm 31 now. Maybe when I'm 49 or whatever, that's when I'm gonna really reap the benefit. Of what I'm doing so far.
That's dope, man. Just to talk about the patience and the will, the intention to even just understand that, because like most people not willing to wait 10 years. Most people after 6 months saying, "Oh, it's not working. Let me try something else. This is clearly not for me."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it kind of happened to me too. I remember when I was getting started in real estate, I was exposed to like Shopify at the time, because at the time it was all about making money, So as I'm trying to figure out my wholesale business, I also see Shopify making money for my friends, and I pivot to Shopify, and I started making money for 2-3 months, and it became a distraction, because I'm like, all my other friends that I was wholesaling with, they're closing deals and they're making way more money than my Shopify store.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me go back. But so you should not chase money, man. Like just pick something,
Never.
stick to it.
I learned.
Yeah. Pick something and stick to it long enough.
And then it's like
gonna
you
make sense.
teeter-tottering. It's like now you half-assing doing 2 things instead of going all in on one.
Exactly. Yeah, I always tell people, like, people just quit too soon. That's really what makes a difference. The difference between people like me and some people that are just trying a lot of things and it's not working out is because you're quitting too soon. You do it for 2 months. Like, I always tell people, if you get into real estate, you got to be willing to go for a full year without making money. If you're like, look, of course, you can make money faster than that, right?
Yeah.
But mentally, if you're not even prepared to go a full year in real estate without making money, you're not good for real estate. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
You
Like,
have to have
I think that's some
skin,
really good
tough
advice.
skin.
you got to have tough skin. Like, you need to be prepared to do a full year of no income in real estate to really know you're ready for real estate. Again, if you're not ready for that, I'm sorry to tell you, man.
Goddamn clip right there. I'm marking that time right
You know
there.
what I'm saying? If you're not ready for that, I'm sorry to tell you that real estate may not be for you. Like, I made money a few months in the business. Thankfully, a lot of people make money pretty fast in real estate. But I was ready. I was ready to stick it out for a full year until it made sense for me, And
I would love to talk to you just even more drawn in, like even about our individual journeys. It's so different.
Yeah.
It's so different. And then to see how you paid into certain things, like with me, like I beat the block for years. Like I had to educate myself.
Yeah.
along everything. Like, how do you know? Like, how do I know all of the things that you've even done? Because I've had to.
Yeah.
I've had to
How'd
learn
you-
it. I've had to do it.
So what made? I mean, I'm not sure if I can ask questions, but I'm curious to hear from her.
Go to your thing.
How did you get into real estate? I mean, what made you get into real estate? Like,
I understood the world at a very young age.
Yeah.
God speaks about systems, and you better understand the system that you're in.
yeah,
And so I wanted to go to college, and nobody was going to send me to college. My parents couldn't. So I dated actually outside of my race, and I saw other people together, and I said, man, why shouldn't I buy something and put my family together, and we all, it's almost like how you said, like raising capital. Well, put them all together and make it work for you. And that's how I went to college. I bought my first 4-unit. I put my mom on one side.
Wow.
I was in one, and then I rented out the other ones. There was a Hispanic guy next door. He lost that building.
wow,
And he kept the 4-unit next door because that one was unpermitted. Didn't matter if it was unpermitted to me. I still made money.
yeah,
So all right. So y'all was talking about, because not to cut y'all off, y'all was talking about the legacy piece.
Yes.
On how real estate is also beneficial to the legacy.
yes,
I wanted you to touch on that because while I was over there getting this thing situated, you was about to give us some gas on
Yes.
the whole building legacy thing.
So, like, I personally believe that real estate mixed with life insurance, for example, are like, I think the key to success in terms of like, generational wealth, like the key to generational wealth, right? So, have you heard of the concept of like buy, borrow, and die? Have you heard of that? Like, so essentially the way it works is you buy an asset, you buy real estate, for example, you borrow against it, but because you cover yourself with life insurance, when you die, your life insurance will pay off your loans, and it will essentially, your family will inherit
No debt.
free and clear assets. So again, I'm gonna repeat it.
So you
kinda-
borrow against you buy an asset.
Let me
you borrow
let me
against
put
it.
some let me put
Yeah.
some legs to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right. So in case of real estate, for example, so every time we buy an asset, right, we buy real estate. Let's say I'm buying my next building, 136 units. My loan at the beginning is going to be $9 million, right? So we have a $9 million loan, but for a $25 million property, right? The value of the property is really $25 million. And so over time, as I'm, stabilizing the assets, I'm going to be unlocking that value of $25 million. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to borrow against it over time. I'm going to be borrowing against my equity. As I'm growing older, hopefully the property is also appreciating, maybe past $25 million. But I'm going to be borrowing against my equity. And this is tax-free money, by the way, either through a cash out refinance or line of credit, however you want to borrow against it, to do other projects, to invest in other businesses or other real estate. But it's really important to always have a life insurance with the value of every loan you have. So for example, if I have a $10 million loan, I would go around and get a life insurance policy for $10 million plus, right? You can even do a term life. I know. I would always encourage people to try to get a whole life policy because it kind of stays with you. But a term life would be fine if that's what you can afford. Because again, you only want to cover yourself for the duration of the loan that you have in the property. And most mortgages are 20, 30 years and that kind of stuff. And if you can get yourself a 30-year term life, right, of $10 million, that covers you for the time you have this $10 million loan, right? So what happens is you borrowing against this property, right? And then you older and God calls you back, right? And you die. What happens is you have your life insurance policy that's going to disperse the capital.
That's right.
And you
Pay
can,
off the.
you can, and then in order for that money to pay off the loan, you can set it up through a trust. So what you do is you every time you get a life insurance policy, make sure that you have a trust that kind of dictates how the money is going to be allocated, right? So now,
I can't believe he just said that.
but
Benny, you get it.
yeah, so your trust will essentially say, well, I have this policy of $10 million. By the way, you should have multiple policies, not just one policy. I have this other policy and that policy, whatever how many policies you have, total $100 million worth of policies. I need $10 million to pay off this asset, whatever loan that's going to be at the time of my, when I pass away. And you kind of structure it through a trust like that. So that way your family will literally inherit free and clear assets.
Yeah,
And
out
they
of
can-
probate.
And out of probate, and then they can repeat the trust. I mean, they can repeat, the cycle if they want. They can either just cash flow no mortgages, you just pay the taxes, or they can take a free and clear assets. They can go
borrow against it,
and just repeat the cycle
and get their own policies.
Definitely.
and get
And
their
you
own
teach them
policies.
this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And by the way, think about
I know
it.
for a fact they doing this.
No, and I'm here to collateralize him. It is true. All of this is the pillars of the system that you live in.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Damn.
Real estate, again, I want to repeat this, and I'm sorry if I'm going to repeat this again.
Man, I think they
Do not
need you to repeat
apologize.
it, bro. They need you to repeat that.
Again, real estate mixed with life insurance is the key to generational wealth. I tell all my friends that you cannot talk about generational wealth if you don't have real estate and life insurance included in whatever assets that you have. I know you got stocks, you got other things, businesses, but you need to have real estate and life insurance because that will guarantee your next generations to have money and wealth.
That's it. Like this episode right here just became homework for every single one of my family members. Like I'm
gotta
sending
get
it to
life
y'all.
insurance.
Y'all better watch.
And
this
by the
whole
way, I don't
episode.
sell life insurance. People, when I talk about
Used to sell
the
life.
Yeah, they think you sell it. Bro.
Not anymore.
when I talk about the buy, borrow, and die strategy, people think that this guy got to be life insurance.
Oh, he trying to sell me something.
I don't have life insurance to
We
sell
can give you a resource. Though, if
You know,
need
we could, you can
Yeah,
provide
we
some
can,
resources, but I
definitely.
don't have life insurance to sell you. But I really believe that everybody should buy real estate, borrow against it, and die.
That's what that last part is
That last
guaranteed,
I
right?
love it.
So, but we know it's guaranteed.
No, he gets it. See,
Think about it. Think about it.
He started it with education, and if you don't get it,
Yeah.
you don't understand
Yeah.
the system that you're in and how these pillars are made and what it's standing on.
Yes.
You don't understand what game you're playing.
And then besides
Then
real
it's
estate, right?
okay.
And then besides real estate, right? Are you out here living life, right? And you protecting everything around you but your life.
It's your life.
Yeah.
Like that to me doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you gotta have life insurance, it's guaranteed that you're gonna die. Like
Yeah.
let's call it what it is.
I
You are
have
going
some,
to
and
die.
now you got me even wanting to look at the fine prints of the type
at
of
the
life
fine
insurance
print
policy
and
I
make
even
sure you-
have.
Oh, you definitely
Yes.
should.
Yeah,
I used to sell
because like I just got
insurance.
it. Like, oh, I know I need it, so I just got it.
Yes.
You know, so
Right.
now I got to
Look
check
at the
into
fine
it.
prints. Make sure that they're not gonna, try to hold the money because sometimes
No.
life insurance companies don't pay.
Yep.
Make sure that you have a trust set up in place. And a lot of people think that you gotta be wealthy or something to have a trust.
No.
That's not true. You can literally pay $100 a month for a trust. Like it's really not all that. Like a trust would just establish, how you want your wealth to be dispersed. So
But
everybody
it
should
also
have
helps to cover those tax
the tax and
loopholes that are needed,
very
right? Because
important.
you can have a will, but you're gonna still need a trust.
A trust is really important. Yes.
It's all. You gotta educate yourself about
gotta
what it
educate
really
yourself.
is, and I'm so grateful to have you on here, just hitting those bullet points because then it sparks the mind to keep asking more
Yes.
questions.
Think about it. Think about it this way, man. Like I was talking to my financial advisor, right? He was telling me a story. It was like, man, look, I'm doing something for my great grandkid or somebody that's never gonna meet to buy their first house when they turn 18. And I was kind of like, what do you mean? Like, what are you possibly doing for your great grandkid? These are family members that you're never gonna meet, possibly, to buy a house in 18. When they turn 18, I was very confused, and he introduced me to a life insurance game that day. So he was telling me like, look, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm buying this, and when I pass away, hopefully God keeps me when I'm 90, whatever. My kid's gonna get this, but then my trust will reserve $2 million to invest in this, so that way 8% return. Like he broke it down, and I'm thinking, okay, do you have the $2 million? No, he said my life insurance got the $2 million. You don't have to have the money.
Money.
You know what I'm saying? Just think about it, man. So you
It's
can
already
guarantee millions of dollars to the future generation without you even having to make that money. That's the power of life insurance.
Bruh.
You know what I'm saying?
Bruh.
Making sure you're
So
covered.
because I was thinking, okay, wait, so you're gonna have $2 million, you're gonna save it somewhere for them? You say, no, I'm gonna already die at the time. I'm like, okay, where is it coming from? You say, life insurance. Oh, wow. So okay, but I was like, can you use that life insurance, and how do you manage it when you're not here? Say, you need a trust. That's what the trust does.
Hold on, man. My head about to explode, bro. My head about to explode with all this information, all this gas, and like, to be honest, Benny, I feel like honestly, bro, the amount of game and gems you just dropped on the show.
Yeah.
If my head about to explode, I feel like the audience is about to
We gotta
pass
get
out.
Benny on
Yeah,
here again.
we might have to be
With one of my attorneys.
This gonna have to be a
And
part
let it-
two.
let it
Man,
happen.
And then, by the way, I'm
Estate
not an
planning.
expert. Let me share something. I'm not an expert at any of this. I just surround myself with smart
With the right people.
You gotta surround yourself with the right people. That's what it is. Like I have the right financial advisor to expose me to this game. I got some attorneys to expose me to this game. Even people that I pay mentors expose me to the real estate game. And just surround yourself with the right people, man. Like I can sound smart. I can
get you
give
and
you all
your
this
financial
stuff,
advisor on here, man. We might need to get both y'all have a little
That's
powwow.
yeah, I think that would be really nice.
Man.
I would like to. I would have a
Beni.
lot of questions for them, and it was gonna be a great conversation. You know?
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued by just the financial industry, how things move.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued by that.
And I could see it, bro. Just to wrap us up, Benny, if you could, man, I would love for you to give our question and audience, our audience a question, right? Of the red pill, blue pill. I want you to challenge them.
You can say, okay.
The red pill, blue pill is like, you ever seen The Matrix?
I know, but I'm trying to. When I say what is that, I'm trying to.
Oh yeah, what is
relate
that?
it to this show
Yeah.
here.
It don't have to be related to what we
Okay.
just talked about. It could be anything. But if you could challenge them with making a decision between one thing or the other thing, what does that decision look like? And if you could make it a little hard for them,
So just to make it clear, make sure you understand. So you want me to ask the audience to pick whether
They take the red pill. Let's say they take the red pill, and we had a guest who said red pill, you get an 850 credit score. Blue pill, you get $1 million cash, but it's spread out within over 10 years.
Yeah, I have an easy one, but I don't want to use the easy one. So let me think. I was gonna say real estate or cash, but nah,
Yeah.
that's too easy. But let me think. Wow, I wish I was more prepared for this question.
It's on the spot question.
It's on the spot question, and
a
then
little
I'm
brain
sure most
teaser.
of your guests also gotta take their time to
Yeah,
think, or
yeah,
somebody
yeah.
already.
Yeah,
know?
well, the guy who said the 850 credit score and $1 million, I feel like he had that one in his back
Yeah,
pocket.
I mean, it's all over the internet. It's all over the internet.
Yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of question. Let me think, man. Like I need a minute. I ain't gonna lie. Let me think.
We're going to put the Jeopardy music on in the background. It ain't no
Oh
Jeopardy.
man, red pill, blue pill. Okay, so would you rather? I kind of want to make it real estate related. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I mean, do your thing.
I guess, would you rather have 100 houses, or would you rather have 100? I'm gonna do 100 houses, or let me see, 100 houses, or oh man, what can I compare it to? Would you rather have 100 houses or a 50 credit score? Fuck it.
How about this one?
My man.
How about this one?
Go ahead, Jazz, hit us with it.
Would you rather have 100 houses paying you $100,000 per month, no insurance, because you really don't need insurance if you have a certain amount of money in the bank, okay? Or would you rather have 10 houses with life insurance?
You see, she's smarter than me.
I'm not
My brain
I'm
just
still
like,
trying to understand the
glitched.
question. So
my
100
brain
houses,
just glitched when you asked me that question.
Yeah.
I felt dumb as shit.
100 houses bringing you $100,000 a year.
But you have no life insurance.
No life insurance.
No.
Or 10 houses with life insurance.
That's actually very good. Actually, let me ask them that. I'm gonna reformulate.
Okay, all right, let's go.
Okay.
Just because he spoke on that
Yeah.
insurance.
So yes,
Yeah, that's big.
knowing everything that I've discussed on this show today. So would you rather have 100 houses that pays you $100,000 every month with no insurance, nothing, no life insurance, or would you rather have 10 houses that will, clearly pay you less in terms of cash flow every month, but you have $50 million of life insurance covered for like whole life, like guarantee you're gonna have it if you pass away. You got $50 million for your
This
family.
is a really good.
That's a good question.
And I think I even thought about it like, how old am I? Where am I? Where am I at?
Yeah.
That's
So again, to put it in perspective, would you rather have 100 houses that pay you $100,000 or have 10 houses that pay you $10,000 a month, but you are guaranteed $50 million when you pass away for your family? What would you rather?
Ooh, I know where all the selfish people going.
So let's see what they're thinking about.
Yeah.
You know what
Let's
I'm
see what they're thinking about. And for the audience, when y'all ready to answer that question, you can answer it in two places. You can answer it on YouTube by going to the community and looking at that poll, or you can go to the link in the description to join our Facebook community, and you can answer it in the Facebook group as well. So those two places, I want to know what y'all picking. Red pill, we're gonna say is the 100 houses at $100,000 a month. Blue pill is gonna be the 10 houses at $10,000 a month, but you get $50 million in life insurance that you have for your family when you die. Which one y'all picking? Red pill or blue pill?
And then, by the way, I know people in the comment may be like, well, sometimes life insurance. No, I'm saying guaranteed. Like, as soon as you pass away,
it's guaranteed.
It's guaranteed. They're writing a check to wherever you want the check to go to.
Right. If you got to trust.
Of course.
Right. I'm learning. Hey, man.
You
So
better have a trust.
Right.
$50 million
you got
in a
you-
lump sum is a
That
lot of
other
freaking
person
money.
may not pay it.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
money, by the way. $50
Yeah.
million. You don't want your family to just get
Yeah.
50 mil right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
People will lose their
Over.
mind.
They're done.
Bruh.
You want to structure it over time
Hell yeah.
through
Yeah.
investments.
Yeah.
and
You might not
I was-
have no family if you don't
I
have no
was
trust.
dispersed. Yeah.
It'll be tough.
It's gonna be the Clash of Clans over here.
it's
Hey, Benny, it's
tough.
been a pleasure having you on the show,
Absolutely, man.
bro.
This is fun, yeah.
You came, you delivered, like you really went above and beyond where I thought this conversation was gonna go, and just dropped it heavy on us and heavy on the audience. And to our audience, I appreciate y'all tuning in every single week, Mondays, Fridays when we drop those clips. We joining y'all on Tuesdays for the lives, and I'm just blessed to have y'all a part of the show week in, week out, letting us know who you want to hear from, what you want to talk about. And, we just hope to continue to deliver to y'all. So make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, share this with a family and friend that need to know about those life insurance policies, about this real estate game. Just make sure you share it and get the message out there. I'm your guy, Kai Speaks. We got Jazz in the building, and you just heard from Beni Fwelo on real estate hacks, life insurance policy. Man, really just the financial game to setting your family up for real. Yes. Just remember to keep focus, build momentum, and drive results so you can live abundantly. Peace.
MDM.
Let's get it.